Hello Leo, Leo Rising and Leo Moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card horoscope for the week starting April 10th, 2017. And yes, I did make that video on why the rising sign is relevant and why you should check it out and how to find it and all of those good things. And you can find that video on the main channel page. It's under suggested videos. It's actually at the very top. It's like the feature video anyway. I'll leave it up there for a couple of weeks. And if you ever want to get a session with me, you can always follow the links below or go to integrativemysticism.com. So what is going on, Leo, when it comes to your astrology this week? Well, the very beginning of the week we got a full moon in Libra, in your third house of communications, forming a lovely sextile to Saturn in your fifth house of love and romance, your relationships with your children. And this is an interesting opportunity for you and a partner, or you and a child, to actually partner up and get some kind of new, I guess you could say new routine, or maybe even new undertaking set in stone. And it's interesting because I'm also getting a vibe of maybe a partner or a child having the skills or the talent to do for you that you've been hiring people out to do. And you may be finding a way to save some money by getting some of that stuff done at home. A full moon in the third house can often indicate also a need to consider culminating something by finally getting this show on the road, whether you're trying to get something debuted, something published. This is a wonderful time for those of you who are public speakers or performing artists, and a partner, again, may either come to you through one of these venues or maybe be the one to help spread your good name over the next 2 weeks. So this is a great time to gather some publicity and some public interest around whatever this is as well. Later on in the week, we have got the Sun in Aries in your 9th house of higher education, academia, your spiritual life, and your government legal proceedings, forming a tight conjunction with Uranus, also in this area. And this is an interesting angle because a lot of you Leo people are going to be breaking away from some kind of cultural agreement that you just know you can't fake it with anymore. And this can be very, very liberating. You know, when I say cultural agreements can be very interesting because sometimes what the intention, I think, behind them, I guess, is to hold together a society, a community, or even a family. But the problem happens when the cultural agreement is sort of the only thing holding together one of those things, and it's not the bonds, you know. So when the wallpaper becomes the glue that holds up the house, you have a problem. And I think that when you have the Sun conjunct Uranus in your 9th house, you're going to be breaking this agreement. You're going to be breaking an agreement that you've made, whether it's, you know, a change in your spiritual beliefs, a change in how you handle family traditions, how you handle your political thoughts and affiliations, but it is something that you've been kind of keeping to yourself for way too long. And, you know, it's interesting about this because this could actually open new doors for you socially and creatively, because you're going to be finding that you're resonating with, you know, a higher truth, your personal truth, by not keeping that behind closed doors. And perhaps you may even get other people to wake up and smell the coffee about how simply blindly following such a thing is not serving them either. So look at you, planning a mutiny, but also at the same time, hero of the people. For your spiritual advice this week, for your spiritual advice card, we do have the card of Elf Struck. And again, this is a card that is I really like this card because not only is it beautiful, but it's a warning. Yeah, you know me. The Elf Struck card often does talk about a need to pay attention to not letting appearance for appearance sake be the strength behind your choices, and be careful about becoming beguiled or perhaps even seduced by things based on flash, glitz, glamour, and idealization. Okay? And this can happen a lot. This happens in relationships, it happens in business, it happens with house hunting, it happens in, again, we talked about that, you know, cultural agreements and things like that. Because the Elf Struck card, it's we have this beautiful girl, her eyes are completely glazed over. There's no soul in it. And that's one of the things to pay attention to this week. Where have we been doing things for the sake of appearance or keeping up appearances? It's time to start shedding some of those layers, because you may be noticing that, again, other people want to have stronger, more substantial professional, emotional, and personal connections with you, but no one's being brave enough to actually do it. Boundaries! So be careful about being afraid to make the first move there, because I have a feeling that you would be kind of touted as the hero for speaking up when no one else would. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we have the King of Cups upright. Somebody's taking a very, very special shine to you when it comes to your work life this week, Leo people, and with the King of Cups, this most likely will end up being a position of authority either in the office that you're working in or possibly even in another spot. The King of Cups tends to take a shine to people on a personal level, and you may be noticing they're trying to take you under their wing. You may be getting offered an incentive or an opportunity to take on a new training program, maybe even to go and work with them personally. This is also a great chance for those of you who maybe have been looking for a way to promote yourself. Well, it looks like this guy, well, again, whether you're looking for a new job or you're simply looking for a better boss or a better supervisor, will be the one to actually grant you this. But I think that we need to be able to, establish that personal connection with him, because when we have any cup people show up in our financial life, they tend to show up as a person who's willing to stick their neck out for us. And in a sense take that professional bullet for us, even though I don't think he's going to need to. And so I would say with the King of Cups upright, just pay attention to when somebody is trying to make that personal connection, and don't block it off, because again, I think that this is somebody who's meant to get you out of a rut, and they're going to do most of the work, so that's always nice. For your communications with air, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, the others in your life, we do have the Page of Wands reversed. This week, there could be an issue going on where a friend or relative that we've counted on actually seeing or doing something with may end up actually flaking out or bailing out at the last minute. Unfortunately, the Page of Wands reverse can indicate flakiness, and I usually see the Page of Wands reverse as somebody who may have even been the initiator. It's kind of like this person plans the vacation, we all take off the time, and they're the ones who don't end up going. This is kind of the energy that we see going on here, and this could be a bit of a frustration, but it doesn't mean you can't have a good time. The Page of Wands reverse can also show up, however, when we notice that a person is possibly changing their tune a bit too much to be consistent. Somebody new that we've met has changed their tune so much, it's kind of like they're not really trying to show their passion for us or the group or our friendships. They're really acting more like a social climber, and it's just more of a warning. Hopefully it's just a phase, but be careful not to give this person too much personal responsibility, or any responsibility at all for that matter. I don't trust people like that I wouldn't even trust them to tell me my shoe was tied. So be careful with that this week, okay? Because there is somebody in your midst who probably doesn't belong getting any closer than they have. For your challenge this week, with fire, we do have the Ace of Cups reversed. And this card can indicate, again, where are you not coming forward with your own discontent or your own disappointments, Leo? Because the Ace of Cups reversed can indicate the challenge is letting out what you might think might be seen as negative. And I feel for you Leo people out there, because sometimes people don't, the people who can't handle negative and positive news at the same time, like they really just don't, they can't do it, really put a lot on Leo people to only give them the uplifting and happy stuff. I think that this week, though, when you look at it with the Ace of Cups reversed, being the morale officer for the world is great, but you need to be able to be honest with people. And with the Ace of Cups reversed, if you've been holding back a complaint, if you've been holding back a concern, a worry, or maybe even an offense with somebody in your life, you need to be able to share it. But you also need to be able to encourage people to not be afraid to give you negative messages too, because this is how we learn, this is how we grow. Self-censorship is self-repression in a lot of ways this week, and you may be noticing that there's a pressure to censor oneself a lot that we don't need. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we've got the Devil upright. This is an interesting week, to say the least. We've got Venus going direct at the very end of the week in your 8th house, and I think this is talking a little bit about that. Because you know what, the Devil card doesn't have to be the end of the world. We are going to be quite indulgent. But be careful this week, because there can be a huge focus on the pleasure-seeking for the sake of pleasure-seeking all by itself. Great for the short term, not so for the long term. So if you're only interested in the short term, boom, good. You know what, that's your, you're fine. But for those of you who are thinking about, looking for new love, the Devil card can indicate somebody who can give you everything that you ask for right away, but they can't keep giving it to you over time. So it's really more like fling material. It's kind of like, oh, we're going to have this like really, really hot 2-week affair, but you know, some people can only do it that way. Remember, it's just a 1-week horoscope. It's not the rest of the year. For those of you who are currently coupled, I think that you and your partner may be getting closer by, you know, enjoying some things that you might not necessarily be doing on the everyday. The Devil card upright says it's okay, just keep that in proportion, and don't let yourselves get too over-analytical when it comes to letting each other kind of play some things out. I'll just put it that way. Keep it clean. So that is your horoscope. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. You know I appreciate it. And of course, if you ever want to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.